Silence in an arena of 50,000 people is a rare thing, a sacred thing. The kind of silence that only happens when tens of thousands collectively hold their breath, waiting for something beautiful. This was that moment. August 31st, 1997. Aloha Stadium, Honolulu, Hawaii. Michael Jackson, 39 years old, sat on a simple stool with an acoustic guitar. The History World Tour acoustic portion. The one moment where the spectacles stripped away and left just him, vulnerable and human. The stage lights had dimmed to a single spotlight. No dancers. No pyrotechnics. Just Michael in silence. He positioned his fingers on the guitar strings. This was the ritual. 3 seconds of complete silence, then the first chord. In second 2, his eyes swept the crowd one final time. Section 118, row 14, seat 22. And everything stopped. 50,000 people sat in perfect silence, waiting for Michael Jackson to begin. His fingers were on the guitar strings. 3 seconds of silence before the first note. But in second 2, Michael's eyes found section 118, row 14, seat 22, and his hands froze. Because the face looking back at him was impossible. It was 1975. It was Hawaii. It was his first love. Second 3, his hands didn't move. The silence extended. For seconds, 5, 6, 50,000 people started to shift. Is something wrong? The woman in row 14, seat 22, mid-30s, Hawaiian, long dark hair with silver threads, simple dress, wasn't screaming or waving, just sitting perfectly still, tears streaming, one hand pressed to her mouth. Next to her, 3 teenage girls, clearly her students, looking concerned. Ms. Kahale, are you okay? But the woman, Leilani, couldn't respond, because Michael Jackson was staring directly at her. And Michael knew that face. Older, lines around the eyes, but unmistakable. Leilani Kahale, his first love. Summer 1975. Honolulu, 2 weeks that changed everything. The girl who'd kissed him not because he was famous, but because he was Michael. Shy, awkward, desperately wanted to be normal. The girl he'd written letters to for 6 months until life consumed him. The girl he'd assumed had moved on 22 years ago. The silence was now at 10 seconds. The band exchanged worried glances. Michael's musical director mouthed, "You okay?" But Michael couldn't move, couldn't play. From Leilani's perspective, she hadn't wanted to come tonight. Her students, Malia, Keiko, Amber, had pooled their money to buy her a ticket. "Ms. Kahale, you have to come. You love Michael Jackson." Leilani had thought, it's been 22 years. I can watch him perform and feel nothing. She was wrong, because the moment Michael sat on that stool, the moment the arena went silent, Leilani was 14 again, sitting on Waikiki Beach with a 17-year-old boy who was terrified of being famous. And now he was looking at her. The silence was now at 15 seconds. The crowd was getting restless. 22 years earlier, July 1975. Honolulu, Hawaii. The Jackson 5 brought their tour to Honolulu. Michael Jackson, 17 years old, was already famous but desperately lonely. They had 2 weeks in Hawaii between tour dates. A rare break. Leilani Kahale, 14 years old, worked part-time at a beachside cafe. First meeting, July 8, 1975. Michael came in wearing sunglasses and a hat, trying to be anonymous. Leilani knew who he was, but instead of screaming, she just took his order. "What can I get you?" "Just a shave ice." "Rainbow." "Tourist choice." "Locals get Lihing Mui." "What's that?" "Salty dried plum. Acquired taste." "I'll try it." She'd made it. He'd hated it, made a face, and she'd laughed. "I warned you." What made Leilani different? She treated him like a customer, not like Michael Jackson. "Do you know who I am?" "Of course. You're Michael Jackson. You're very famous." "Does that change anything?" "Should it?" "You still ordered the wrong flavor." The 2 weeks, July 8th to 22nd, 1975. Michael came back every day, sometimes for shave ice, mostly to talk to Leilani. She taught him about Hawaii, the culture, the language, how the ocean sounded different at dawn versus dusk. He taught her about music, Rhythm, harmony. How a song could tell a story without words. July 12th. Their first real conversation. Leilani's shift ended. Michael was still there. If you are enjoying this story, please subscribe to support the channel. Do you want to walk on the beach? They walked for hours. Michael talked about the pressure, the constant scrutiny. Do you ever get to just be Michael? Not really. Do you ever get to just be Leilani? Every day. Maybe that's the difference between us. July 15th. The first kiss. They were sitting on the beach at sunset. Michael had been nervous all day. I don't really know how to. Leilani had kissed him. Simple, sweet, innocent. There, now you know how. For 2 weeks, Michael wasn't Michael Jackson. He was just Michael, a 17-year-old boy who liked music and the ocean, and a girl who didn't need him to be anything else. July 22nd, the last day. The tour was resuming. The Jackson 5 were leaving. Michael and Leilani sat on the beach one final time. I don't want to leave. I don't want you to leave either. Can I write you? Can we stay in touch? Yes, please. Michael wrote his address on a napkin. Leilani wrote hers. I'll write you every week, Michael promised. I'll write you back. They kissed goodbye. First love. Pure, uncomplicated. Michael kept his promise for 6 months. August 1975 to January 1976. The letters. Michael wrote Leilani every week, sometimes twice. Letters about touring, about missing Hawaii, about wanting to be normal. Leilani wrote back. Letters about school, about learning guitar, about how the ocean still sounded like the rhythm he'd taught her to hear. January 1976. The letters stopped, not dramatically. Michael just got busy. Off the Wall was being planned. Studio sessions. Choreography. He told himself, I'll write next week. Next week became never. What Michael assumed, Leilani moved on. Found a local boyfriend. Forgot about him. What actually happened? Leilani waited. February 1976. Leilani stopped getting letters. She waited 2 weeks. Then a month. Then 3 months. Her friend said, he's Michael Jackson. He forgot about you. But Leilani had the letters. 57 of them. Each one handwritten. Each one real. She kept them in a shoebox. Read them when she was sad. 1976 to 1980, Leilani finished high school. She didn't date seriously. How could she? Every boy she met, she compared to Michael. Off the Wall exploded. Michael Jackson became a solo superstar. Leilani saw him on TV. She told herself, he moved on. I should too. But she couldn't. 1981 to 1985, Leilani went to college. University of Hawaii. Music education. She became a teacher. Because Michael had taught her music was a language everyone could speak. She dated occasionally. Nice guys. None of them lasted. Why don't you ever get serious with anyone? Her mother asked. I'm focused on my career. But the truth was, she was still in love with a boy from 1975. Thriller happened. Michael Jackson became the biggest star in human history. The distance between them became impossible. 1985 to 1997, Leilani became a high school music teacher. She taught rhythm, harmony, how songs tell stories. The kids loved her. She never married. Her family asked why. I just haven't found the right person. But the truth was, she'd found him when she was 14, and he'd written her 57 letters and then disappeared. The shoebox. Every letter Michael had written. Every napkin note. Every small memory. She never showed anyone. Ms. Kahale, why do you cry during this song? Because it's beautiful, Malia. Good music should make you feel something. August 1997. History World Tour announced. Honolulu date. Leilani saw the announcement. Thought, I won't go. It's been 22 years. Then her student surprised her. Ms. Kahale, we pooled our money and bought you a ticket. Girls, you didn't have to. You love his music. You cry every time we play him in class. Leilani had wanted to say no, but maybe seeing him would give her closure. Now, August 31st, 1997, Leilani sat in section 118, row 14, seat 22. And Michael Jackson had just recognized her. The silence was now at 20 seconds. Michael's musical director walked to him, leaned in. Michael, you okay? Michael, barely audible. Section 118. Row 14. Seat 22. The woman with long dark hair. I need security to bring her backstage after the show. Who is she? Someone from a long time ago. Michael forced himself to play. His hands moved. The guitar chord sounded. His voice started singing, but it was automatic. His eyes kept drifting to Section 118. The acoustic song ended. The crowd applauded. Michael stood. Thank you. I need to. He stopped. There's someone here tonight I haven't seen in 22 years. Someone I thought I'd lost. I need to take a break. I'll be back. 50,000 people sat in confused silence. Michael pointed vaguely towards Section 118. Security, please. The woman in row 14 with the 3 teenagers. Please bring them backstage if they're willing. He walked off stage. In Section 118, Leilani was shaking. He saw me. He actually saw me. Malia. Ms. Kahale, how does Michael Jackson know you? It's complicated. Security arrived. Ma'am, Mr. Jackson has requested to see you. The students were losing their minds. Ms. Kahale, how do you know Michael Jackson? I'll explain later. Do you want to come? Yes. 10:08 p.m. Michael's dressing room. 26 minutes later. Leilani Kahale stood with her 3 students, facing Michael Jackson for the first time in 22 years. Leilani, Michael whispered. Hi, Michael. 22 years in 2 words. Michael to the students. Would you mind waiting outside? There are snacks. I promise I'll come say hi. I just need to talk to Ms. Kahale alone first. The girls left reluctantly, excitedly. You're in Honolulu. You still live here. I've never left. You're a teacher. Music teacher. Because of you. Michael sat. Because of me? You taught me to hear rhythm in everything. The ocean, rain, breathing. I became a teacher because I wanted to teach kids what you taught me. I thought you'd moved on, gotten married, build a life. I did build a life, just not the one everyone expected. Why did you stop writing? Michael's face, guilt, shame. I got busy. Off the Wall was starting. I told myself I'd write next week, then next month, then never. I'm sorry. I waited for 6 months, kept checking the mail. Eventually I realized you'd moved on. I never moved on. What? I kept every letter you wrote, 57 of them, in a shoebox in my apartment. I've read them so many times the paper is soft. Michael couldn't speak. I never married. Never found anyone who... She stopped. Everyone I dated, I compared to you, to the 17-year-old who taught me about music, and no one ever measured up. Why didn't you reach out? How? You were Michael Jackson. You became the biggest star in the world. What was I supposed to do? I would have remembered. Would you? After Thriller? After becoming everything you became? No, probably not. I was so consumed by being Michael Jackson that I forgot to be Michael, the Michael who sat on the beach with you. Leilani sat. Why did you stop the show when you saw me? Because I was 17 again, sitting on Waikiki Beach, promising to write every week. And I realized I broke that promise. And you were here. And I couldn't just keep performing like you didn't matter. I shouldn't have mattered. It was 22 years ago. Did it feel like 22 years ago when I looked at you? Silence. No, Leilani admitted. It felt like yesterday. I teach music because of you, Leilani said. Every time a student asks why I cry during certain songs, I think about you teaching me to hear rhythm in ocean waves. You've been carrying me for 22 years. Yes, and I couldn't tell anyone because it sounded crazy. Michael, honest, I've been looking for you in every woman I've ever dated. I didn't realize it until now, but every relationship, I was trying to find what I had with you. The ease, the normalcy. Did you ever find it? No. Michael stood, paced. I don't know what to do with this. You're a teacher. You have a life. And I'm Michael Jackson. I know, but I can't just let you walk away again. Not after knowing you kept the letters. What are you asking me? Come to Los Angeles. Visit. Let me show you the letters I kept. Let me take you to dinner. Let's see if what we had at 14 and 17 still exists at 36 and 39. Michael, I have students. I can't just... I'm not asking you to quit your life. I'm asking for a weekend, just to see. And if it's not the same, then we'll know, and we can both finally move on. But if we don't try, we'll spend another 22 years wondering. Leilani looked at him, at the possibility. My students are outside. They're going to have questions. Tell them the truth. That I was your first boyfriend. That we dated in 1975. That I stopped writing. And you've been carrying that. They'll think it's the most romantic thing they've ever heard. Is it? Ask me after the weekend. September 1997. Leilani visited Los Angeles. Michael showed her the letters, not 57, but 83. He'd written more, but never sent them. Why didn't you send them? Because I was scared. Scared you'd moved on. They talked for hours. About the 22 years. About what they'd built separately. It wasn't the same. It was better. Because they weren't teenagers anymore. October 1997 to June 1998. They tried long distance. Leilani stayed in Honolulu, teaching. Michael visited between commitments. It was complicated, but it worked. August 1998. Michael proposed. On Waikiki Beach, where they first kissed. I promised to write you every week. I broke that promise. But I'm making a new one. I won't leave again. Will you marry me? Leilani said yes. Leilani moved to Los Angeles. She took a position at a music school, kept teaching, kept her identity. Michael kept performing, but now he had an anchor. August 31st, 1997, 11:15 p.m., Aloha Stadium. Michael returned after a 67-minute absence. 50,000 people erupted. Leilani and her students watched from the wings. I'm sorry, Michael said. Tonight, in the silence before I was supposed to play, I saw a face I thought I'd lost 22 years ago. My first love. From 1975. She was 14. I was 17. We dated for 2 weeks. I promised to write. I did for 6 months. Then I stopped, and I spent 22 years thinking she'd moved on. The crowd was silent, but she didn't move on. She kept every letter. Became a music teacher because I taught her about rhythm. Never married because no one compared to 2 weeks on a beach. He looked toward the wings. This is for Leilani. For keeping the letters. For waiting 22 years. For giving me another chance. He played the acoustic song. But this time it wasn't just performance. It was confession, promise, beginning. Years later, Michael kept a shoebox of Leilani's letters on his nightstand. Next to it, the 57 letters she kept to his. Below them, in their handwriting. First love doesn't mean temporary. It means first. And if you're lucky, it means forever. We got lucky. M and L. The arena went silent. Michael Jackson had just spotted a familiar face. Not because 50,000 people stopped screaming, but because in the 3 seconds before he was supposed to begin, Michael saw a face from 1975. The girl who'd kissed him on a beach when he was 17. The girl who'd kept 57 letters for 22 years. The girl who'd never moved on because first love, when it's real, doesn't move on. It just waits. And sometimes, if you're impossibly lucky, it gets a second chance. If you like this story, please subscribe to support this channel.